polls for one side or the other. In this case, a new poll is out. President Biden losing Black voters. Third parties are picking up where he's divested, if you will. Bruce C.T. Wright of News One writing that the partisan battle for Black voters' support may not be as cut and dry this year compared to the buildup to presidential elections in recent memory. Instead of the traditional support from Black voters going to Democrats and the nominee, the unusually high number of third-party candidates this year could flip that status quo on its head. Spell doom for President Joe Biden, a major pollster said. And when you look at the array of candidates here and what's attractive to people, this is a real possibility. It's happening. It's happening, folks. Better wake up or coalesce. Put your energy behind who you feel is the best for you, your own personal platform, as well as that for the country. Here's why 20% of Black voters, Biden's most loyal base, expect to cast their ballots on election day for neither the incumbent nor Donald Trump, the presumptive Democratic and Republican presidential nominees, respectively, according to a new poll. The findings in the USA Today Suffolk University poll are the latest evidence that fewer Black voters plan on supporting Biden's re-election efforts, giving a slight edge to Trump in the general election. News One. To be precise, the poll found that nearly 25% fewer Black voters plan to support Biden this year than they did in 2020. Wow. On the flip side, Trump has managed to maintain the 12% support among Black voters that he got in 2020, which the polling suggests could prove to be the difference in November. Although Trump hasn't grown support among Black voters, he's closed the deficit behind third-party voters come off of Biden's support among Blacks. David Pilogas, director of Suffolk Political Research Center, said about the new poll, a young voter or a person of color voting third party is a vote away from President Joe Biden. And a vote away from President Biden is a vote for Donald Trump. It's just that simple. While fewer young people are expected to vote this year compared to past presidential elections, the decline is most pronounced amongst Black voters, according to a poll released last month. At the same time, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the top polling third-party candidate, is reportedly enjoying support among Black voters in battleground states at an unprecedented level. MSNBC reported 28% of Black voters in battleground states, 28% plan to vote for Kennedy, while 50% of those same voters support Biden. 13% are expected to vote for Trump, according to recent polling. Now, that's likely at least partially because Black voters in swing states, including some that helped secure Biden's victory in 2020, have been supporting Trump at levels previously unseen by a Republican candidate. Previous poll found of those states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, the likely suspects. Just one of them, just one of those 6 states shows Biden beating Trump by a slim margin. On a more granular level, there are more Black voters from those states, 22% of them supporting a Republican presidential candidate than ever previously recorded. This is from the New York Times and what they are reporting as well. While polling is far from definitive, it can indicate trends like Black voters' unprecedented support for a third-party candidate this year. This is a pretty unique historical moment when more than 60% of the population says they are open to voting for a third party or independent candidate. Tony Lyons, Kennedy's book publisher and the co-founder of a super PAC for the candidate, telling NBC News, Washington Monthly reported that professional pollsters say polling of third-party candidates cannot accurately assess a minor candidate's support, let alone their durability. So you better pay attention to that. The pollsters may be underestimating, is what I'm hearing, okay? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Beyond Black voters, an NPR PBS NewsHour Marist national poll released in October found Trump would likely emerge victorious in November when factoring in Kennedy's independent candidacy and the 16% of support he was predicted to get. Without Kennedy's candidacy, the poll shows Biden would beat Trump. Biden's pro-Israel policies amid the escalating conflict in Gaza have been another touchstone for young Black voters in particular, who have demanded more from the presidential administration when it comes to protecting the Palestinian people. Third-party presidential candidates Jill Stein, Cornel West have been adamant in their condemnation of the Biden administration's aid for Israel. The stances that, according to polling, could resonate with those same young Black voters and result in their support on Election Day, which could similarly bode well for Donald Trump. Nevertheless, VP Kamala Harris has been out galvanizing young voters, especially Black ones, on behalf of the Biden administration, and the Democratic political machine has been working overtime to shore up support among all Black voters. Here's the response from the DNC. I want you to pay attention to this. DNC hasn't let up on engaging and mobilizing Black voters. Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison told The Guardian recently, "This isn't something I take lightly. I know what it feels like to have our community taken for granted and only have folks show up for us when they need our vote on Election Day." Senator, no disrespect to the DNC chair, Mr. Harrison, who I like. It appears that the Democratic Party doesn't know how to engage Black voters, particularly, I think, Black men. You're not engaging them. I've had meetings with people who say you're talking at them. You're not listening to them. And this thing, I find it slightly offensive. I want to hear what you have to say about this, and then I'll give you the floor, because you're going to need the floor here. Get us all the way together. I find it offensive that they keep doing these things like if Jill Stein would just get out of the race, if Kennedy would just get out of the race, Biden wins. What happened to earning my vote? And you know what? If it's that important to you, do better by me. If you want us to save democracy, shouldn't you be required to do better by me, Senator? There it is.
Woo!
There it is.
Sister Sharon Reed, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you did that.
Wow.
That's exactly right. If we matter, I mean, if you love me, show me.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's not happening. There's so much that we can unpack from this article. So I will start with Chairman Harrison, Sharon, since you ended there. And I know him too, like him, but give me a break on this. The Democratic Party has taken, for years, even before Jamie Harrison became the chair of the DNC, has a pattern of taking the Black vote for granted. Now, they're about to get what grandma used to say, which is, I can show you better than I can tell you. Now, we've been telling you election cycle after election cycle after election cycle that you're not doing right by us. Now we're about to show you. As that article has illustrated, that Black voters, either they're going to vote for Trump or they just not going to show up. And that young voters particularly are over it. What is happening in the Middle East is certainly animating our community, as most issues that have to do with justice or injustice animates the Black community, particularly in a deeper seated way than most, because of our history in this country. And younger voters get that is what is happening, and the way that the United States of America, this president, this administration is handling the slaughter at this point. At this point, 30,000 people killed. Almost 60,000 people just maimed, just hurt. Over 60% of the Gaza Strip destroyed. At this point, this is not about self-defense for Israel. And the United States of America is aiding and abetting the slaughter of innocent people. That ain't lost on young people from all walks of life. A lot of the polling will show, but especially for Black people, Sharon, and when you couple that with the fact that the Democratic Party has done nothing, fill it in, SHIT, for the Black community that is materially substantive, you getting what you're getting. And the fact that Trump is holding at his 12%, let us not forget that in 2016, he enjoyed 8% of the Black vote. If we go back even further, when Romney was running the election cycle before, Romney gained 6%. Trump gained 8%. And now the prediction is that Trump in this 2024 election cycle is going up 12%, while President Biden is losing support. And the nail in it, the nail on the coffin here is in that same article, 60% of the population, like the larger population, Sharon Reed, the larger population, not just black people, said they opened to third parties. So don't blame Dr. Cornel West. Don't blame RFK Jr. Don't blame Jill Stein or Dr. Jill Stein. Look in the mirror, Democratic Party. This is on you. And black folks are finally showing we tired of carrying this party on our back. You haven't done anything for us. And we just either not gonna come out to vote or we're gonna vote for some other folks. Now, and Sherman, I am highly offended by the pollster who said what most white liberal folks believe, that the black community owes the Democratic Party something, and that if they vote for a third party candidate.
I apologize. You got me messed up.
You got me bent on that, right? That we're supposed to be all about choice. But when voters start making different choices, now all of a sudden, and Sharon, they solely putting this on the black community, that if they vote for a third party candidate, that somehow that's a vote for Donald Trump. Oh, no, sir, no, ma'am. If people decide, including black people, decide to vote for a third party candidate, they voting for that third party candidate. And if Democrats don't like it, then do better. And then my last point, Sharon, you're absolutely right about black men. The Democratic Party has spent election cycle after election cycle elevating black women at the expense of black men. Now, Sharon, I'm not mad. Elevate black women. Don't get me wrong. But don't do it at the expense of black men. The Democratic Party has acted as though black men don't exist. And now all of a sudden you really, 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 really need them. And they really don't vote much different from black women. Not really. Over 90% of the vote, almost damn near 100% of the vote that black people cast go to Democrats. So I want to put that in the parking lot.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party has continued to emasculate black men, pretend like they don't exist. And that is why they're losing black men, because black men don't see themselves in this party. Symbols on aside, and what I mean symbols, black electeds, Jamie Harrison is a black, that don't matter. You are not answering to the call and to the needs of black men, and they just saying we out.
Wow. I don't want you to show up in my church. Don't come to my community center.
That's it.
I don't want to see you at the grocery store, if there is one, perhaps in certain neighborhoods. You're disrespectful, you're not honest, you're ungrateful. And just like your grandmother, my grandmother, a lot of grandmothers said, you're right. I've got to hold you accountable. I can show you better than I tell you. And if MAGA and soccer moms have a right, hey, they're our fellow Americans. One person, one vote. They're allowed to think what they want to think. Respect them. Respect the black vote. If someone chooses Kennedy, Dr. Stein, why would they be accused of tanking? Tanking what? Tanking what? If you do me dirty time and time again, you can't pass things that make my life not just better, possible, eh? I want to breathe, live, work, dream. You can't even get that done, huh? I don't care how many black people you employ in, as the senator said, this symbolic way. It's time to hold you accountable. And if democracy is at stake, hi, I'm democracy over here. And you need me to get it done. Well, then you better be a little more creative, okay? This little door knocking in church and this dialect that changes, okay? It's not gonna work for much longer, okay? Just like everybody else, Senator. Give you the last word. Can't we vote for who we
just like everybody else. I'm gonna get the camera crew. They see me in here jumping out my seat. They done put the camera on the sister while I'm back here saying hallelujah, amen. Sharon, that is exactly right. Act like it. Treat me like you need me. Instead of deploying the vice president and coming, don't come up in this black church. Don't do it because you ain't been here all this time. Sharon, this is worse than the mistress.
Yeah.
The black community being treated like side chicks. See, at least the mistress get jury every now and then. They get a call every now and then. They get wooed every now and then. But then, doggone it. I'm sorry, family show. When you are the side piece, you get nothing.
No.
And the black community, they just tired of it. They over it. Absolutely. And your point about every other demographic, it's okay for them to make different choices. Democratic Party don't say ne'er word. But when it comes to Black people, you want to put the entire, that hanging in the balance, the entire Biden-Harris administration's reelection is on the backs of Black people. No, we ain't going for it this time.
God, you gotta run. I would probably lose access to you. Well, not you, you're a real one.
You would never, Sharon Reed, never lose access to me.
I love you. Well, I'd have to give up this and I would have to be with you in an administration because I believe in you. I didn't take a vitamin today, Senator Turner, and I don't need
Press secretary.
Okay. Oh, I would love it.
I can see you. Sharon,
asked and answered. And then I'm posing the questions to them. So I'd have to get perhaps a little on the job training. I'm representing your brand. Okay, I love you. Now we already had church up in here, and I don't think you want to miss 1 second.
They wouldn't be ready for you, Sharon, but that's what you would do. They wouldn't be ready.
No, they wouldn't, but they better get ready. Okay, it's what you said. It's happening.